This time next week, I will be in sunny Florida enjoying spring break. Unfortunately, the Florida locals don't know much about LaSalle sports, but don't worry, I'll grace them with my knowledge. You're welcome. Hello, I'm Libby Oland.
And I'm Meghan Cooney. Unlike Libby over here, I will be riding out my spring break in the lovely tropical state of New Jersey. But don't worry, I will also keep them updated on Explorer Sports. You're watching LaSalle's home for Explorer Athletics, SportsLine.
Welcome to SportsLine. We have a show full of recaps and upcoming games you can look forward to before spring break begins.
And later, track and field junior Finn Birnie joins us for a live in-studio interview.
But first, let's take a look at our SportsLine top 3.
Number 1, Josh Nickelberry was named the Atlantic 10 Sixth Man of the Year and an honor voted on by the conference coaches. The senior guard receives this award after he continued to shine in the team after switching from being a starter to an impactful player off the bench.
Number 2, men's soccer head coach Taylor Thames announced the team's 2023 spring schedule, consisting of 7 games, 4 which will be played at home. The Explorers will face Sigma FC, an international youth travel team from Canada, Temple, Penn, Bucknell, Millersville, and Drexel.
Number 3, water polo's Hannah Warren was named the NovaCare Student Athlete of the Week this week. Warren was an offensive weapon for water polo over the weekend, scoring 7 goals, including 3 against number 19 ranked Harvard.
So a really big week this week for our top 3. First off, with Josh Nickelberry being the 6th Man of the Year, that's a huge honor for him. I'm really thrilled that he was awarded that, especially in his senior season. Coming off the bench now in the second half of the season, I don't know if that's necessarily what he would have expected, but he took that role to heart and played his heart out the whole season, and just an incredible honor. Really, really proud of him.
Yeah, absolutely. He, like you said, he took that role and he has been absolutely excelling at it. It might not have been his first choice, it might not have been what he wanted to do, but he has just been absolutely blazing forth coming off the bench, and it has just done him a world of good. And you know, on this show, we love talking about Josh Nickelberry.
We do, absolutely, our comm major. Also, Hannah Warren, who we interviewed last week, NovaCare Student Athlete of the Week. Incredible honor for her. Water polo is playing great right now. They played some tough opponents that we'll get to in recaps, but great honor for her. She said last week, I want to start scoring more goals. That's exactly what she did.
She's just an absolute superstar. Like you said, we had her on last week, and she just continues to shine and is absolutely amazing.
Awesome. So that is it for this week's top 3. Now let's see how our teams did in this week's recaps. On Saturday, the men's basketball team finished their regular season against Loyola Chicago. It was also the team's senior day. The Explorers started in a hole early, trailing 15-8 after the first 7 minutes of play. The Explorers would wake up thanks to a 3-pointer by Josh Nickelberry and Fusini Drame. They would go on a 19-15 run and cut Loyola's lead to just 3. Unfortunately, the Ramblers would go on a small run of their own and went into halftime up 38-29. The start of the second half, the Explorers came out of the locker room determined and cut Loyola's lead to just 1 after Jameer Brickus and Deshaun Shepard led a 13-7 LaSalle run. Both teams would continue to score, but the Ramblers were more consistent and eventually took a double-digit lead with 5 minutes remaining. The Explorers again found their rhythm thanks to multiple 3-pointers by Josh Nickelberry and Khalil Brantley. They would cut Loyola's lead to just 2 with 7 seconds remaining. The Ramblers would make 1 free throw, and a last-second shot to tie the game was no good, as LaSalle would lose 76-73. Then it was on to Brooklyn, where 11th-seeded LaSalle would face Rhode Island in the first round of the A-10 championship. After 2 teams fought back and forth for the first 5 minutes of action, LaSalle would go on a 29-15 run to give themselves a 39-24 lead at halftime. Brickus scored 12 points in the first 20 minutes, while the Explorers would hold Rhode Island to just a 26.9% field goal percentage. The Explorers would eventually get their lead up to 17 early in the second half, but 2 separate Rams runs would cut their lead to just single digits. LaSalle would have an answer for both runs, however, and Deshaun Shepard would score 11 points in the half to help the Explorers cruise to a 73-56 victory.
The Explorers then moved into the second round of the A10 tournament where they faced 6th seed Duquesne. The Explorers held a decent lead of 20-17 thanks to an 8-0 run from Josh Nickelberry and a pull-up jumper by Deshaun Shepard. The Dukes, however, eventually fought back and went on a 16-7 run that led the Explorers coming up short going into the half at 33-27. The Explorers went on a 6-0 run in the first minute of the second half thanks to the Drame brothers. It is A10s, however, and the Dukes came to play and outscored the Explorers 11-5, taking the lead at 44-38. The duo of Brickus and Brantley combated, however, leading the Explorers on a 23-7 run with 9 points from Brantley and 6 points from Brickus, putting the Explorers ahead 61-51. The Explorers kept the momentum for the rest of the game and came out with another win, outscoring the Dukes 81-70.
Men's golf headed to Ocean View, New Jersey to open their season at the South Jersey Kickoff last weekend. The Par 72 Shoregate Golf Club played tough conditions with high winds and cold weather impacting play. That ended the weekend with a two-day team score of 616, which gave them first place for the second year in a row for this event. Freshman Kevin Lyden led the team, finishing in second place overall at 6 over par. Senior Nikita Romanov was close behind, finishing in sixth place with a score of 9 over for the weekend. Anthony Garcia was third for the Explorers, placing in 10th and at 10 over in the clubhouse. Carson Rush rounded out scoring for LaSalle at 14 over. LaSalle brought along the rest of their 10-man team as 5 competed as individuals, not factoring into the team score. Ryan Smiley performed the best of the individuals, placing 14th in the event at a score of 13 over par. Christian Fortas had a standout round on Sunday, shooting one after a tough round Saturday. His second round allowed him to climb up the leaderboard and take 25th overall. The men's golf team will take a break before heading to the Columbia Spring Invitational on April 3rd.
Lacrosse took on St. Mary's on Saturday. Claudia Steinmetz started the game for the Explorers with a goal less than 2 minutes into the game. Mackenzie Click scored 2 goals in the first half, but it wasn't enough to combat the 5-goal streak made by St. Mary's that had the Explorers down 9-3 at the half. Molly Maloney, Elena Stickney, Alana Lathan, and Steinmetz all contributed goals in the second half, but unfortunately it was not enough and the Explorers fell to the Mount 18-7.
Water polo competed in the Harvard Invitational last weekend with their first competition against the 20th seed Brown. The Bears started strong with a 4-1 lead after the first quarter. The Explorers would have a scoreless second frame as the Bears advanced their lead 11-1. LaSalle picked it up in the second half with 3 more goals for a total of 4 goals by Francesca Coe, Whitney Wood, Shayna Zuanich, and Madeline Corper. Unfortunately, it was not enough to overcome Brown. The Bears would add 7 more goals, and LaSalle took a 4-18 loss. It was then on to compete against the number 24 seed CSUN. CSUN was first on the board, but LaSalle was able to tie it up. The Matadors would score 6 more goals, while the Explorers would only score 2, giving the Matadors a 7-3 lead at the end of the first period. In the second frame, each team would score 2 more goals each. LaSalle would score 4 more goals in the second half, but unfortunately 5 more goals from CSUN would result in a 15-9 LaSalle loss. Coe led the offensive attack, scoring a team high of 4 goals in the game, and the final goal would mark her 50th goal of the season.
The water polo team had a busy day on Sunday. They opened the day with a matchup against Gannon and quickly jumped out to a 5-1 lead by the end of the first quarter. After a slow second quarter led to a 7-2 halftime lead, LaSalle came out of the halftime full throttle. They would end the third quarter with a 15-2 lead and would ultimately win the game by a score of 16-4. Sophomore Francesca Coe led the charge for the Explorers, finishing with 6 goals on 9 shots, while also tallying 3 steals and a block on the defensive end. Tatum Lomax would also add 2 goals, 3 blocks, and a steal in the game. Later that day, the Explorers would match up against a Harvard team that was sitting at 19th in the national rankings. The Explorers would start hot, holding a dangerous Harvard offense to just 3 goals in the first period, while scoring 4 of their own. The offense would slow down in the second period, and LaSalle went into halftime with a 5-4 deficit. The game was neck and neck in the rest of the way. The Explorers would rally back and tie the game 3 separate times in the third quarter and enter the final frame with a score of 7-7. After 2 quick goals by the Harvard offense, junior Hannah Warren responded with a goal of her own to cut the lead down to 1. Another 2-goal run by Harvard would be cut short by Madeline Coper to make it an 11-9 game with just under 4 minutes left to play. That would be the end of the scoring for LaSalle, though, and they would go on to lose the game 13-9. Coe shined again, finishing the game with 3 goals and 4 blocks, while Hannah Warren added a hat trick of her own. The team now has a 2-week break ahead of them and will resume action against Wagner on March 19th.
Track and field wrapped up their indoor season last weekend at the ICE4 Championships in Boston. Christine Mancini broke a program record in the 1 mile with a time of 4 minutes and 44.02 seconds. Her time was good for third place. Jenna Webb and Georgia Rose Dawson finished in the top 25 of the 1K prelims. They finished 22nd and 23rd, respectively. Lexi Rivard placed 21st in the 800-meter prelim with a time of 2 minutes and 14.93 seconds. On the men's side, Dylan Service placed 6th in the 1K prelims and 9th in the finals of the event, clocking in at 2 minutes and 37.02 seconds. Big week for recaps. That was a lot, but can we take a minute? I know it was International Women's Day yesterday, but our men's teams really shined this week. In the A10 tournament, the LaSalle men's basketball team is killing it. I am so proud of them. They were so fun to watch last night. That was the best game I've seen them play all season. Jameer Brickus and Khalil Brantley, incredible performance. They were in the paint, driving to the basket, performances that we haven't seen from them in a while. There was a lot of grit in this team and determination, and they have a really exciting game against Fordham tonight, and I don't know, I'm feeling a March Madness bid.
I know. I'm literally, like you said, I could not be more excited and more proud of our men's basketball team. I know we've been tough on them. I know we've been hard on them. We've had our critiques throughout the season, but I could not be proud of them for making it this far in A10s. And like you said, I don't know, 3 games, March Madness. I don't know. I'm keeping my fingers crossed and I'm knocking on wood because I would love to see it. I would love to see our boys go all that way, and I just think it would be absolutely amazing.
Yeah, fingers crossed. They've been playing great. Fran Dunphy, I think he was the answer. I mean, they haven't been to this quarterfinals of the A10 championships since 2015, and you can just tell, even being in this position, the school is so excited. Everybody's just thrilled to see how it goes. So really, really proud of them. And I have to give my men's golf team some credit. They won the Invitational South Jersey kickoff for the 2nd year in a row. I always talk about how hard it is to win a golf tournament. This one is a tough one to win. They were in Jersey. It was so windy. Scott, our coach, said the conditions were, quote, diabolical, if that explains it. And they went out and they played as a team and they got the victory overall. So super proud of them. And water polo. Some tough games this week, but we saw the 2 girls that we interviewed last week, Francesca Coe and Hannah Warren, really standing out, and it's good experience for them. They talked about it last week about how they like playing tough teams because it gives them some experience and some confidence going into lesser opponents. Yeah,
like I think we mentioned it in the recaps, like even though they did unfortunately lose that last game, it's really just they're on fire personally and they're setting personal bests and they're doing absolutely amazing out there. So even though it is a challenge for them, I do think that it'll improve their game and they'll just keep getting better and better.
Absolutely, and they do have a 2-week break, so hopefully they'll come back out swinging. We are going to take a quick break, but when we come back, Finn Birnie is in studio to talk track and field.
Using meth taught me everything about freedom, only not like you think. It taught me how easy it is to lose your freedom, how meth can take control until you find yourself doing whatever meth tells you to do. Before you get there, while you still can, take a stand for yourself. If you feel yourself losing your freedom to meth, ask for help. Accept the help. It's worth it. You have the power to be truly free and be the person you want to be. I know. I'm Jan, and I'm free from meth.
If you or someone you know is struggling with meth, call 1-800-662-HELP for 24-hour free and confidential treatment referral. Learn more at samhsa.gov/meth.
Unlike other health concerns, mental illness is not always easy to see.
Third line, please.
DEPRESSION.
Mental illness doesn't show up on a scale.
Bipolar?
Sorting out a mental health concern is not something to attempt on your own.
Anxiety. I thought so.
Like many health conditions, help for mental illness takes professional diagnosis and treatment. And the sooner you seek treatment, the better.
Look at that. 6,000 steps and PTSD.
If you or a loved one has a mental health concern, don't go it alone. Find out what to do. For 24-hour free and confidential information and treatment referral, call 1-800-662-HELP. Learn more at samhsa.gov/support.
Welcome back. Track and field closed out their indoor season last week and will move outside for spring in the coming weeks. We have Finn Birnie on today to talk to us a little bit about track. Finn, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, we're thrilled to have you. So can you talk a little bit about, I always like to ask, how did you get into your sport? Why track?
So when I was in primary school, I played every sport under the sun. I was doing cricket, I was doing football, I was playing tag rugby. And I wanted to stay fit, and all of my friends were going to the local clubs, so my mum signed me up. Loved running around a muddy field for hours on end, and then I did my first race, and I think the feeling of like running in your first race was unbelievable. I'll never forget, my mum has a photo of me winning like my first ever race. I'm in board shorts because I didn't have any proper running shorts, and my club singlet, horrible maroon singlet, blue board shorts. But you know, I got into it young, and I think I was 8 when I first joined my club, so ever since then, loved it even more, you know.
Wow. Yeah, that's great. So how did you feel like the transition coming like to LaSalle, playing in like the A10 conference and such?
So I actually came to America because I'm originally from England. So I came to America and went to Belmont University, which is a school in Nashville, Tennessee. And I was there for about 3 years. Let's just say I didn't enjoy it that much, which is why I transferred. And the transfer process went fantastically. Coach Peterson reached out to me, and we have a fantastic relationship, and I really appreciate that. So the transition moving here has been seamless. The guys on the team, they're fantastic. They're like brothers to me, and you know, we all get on so well, and it was just really easy. Like, they made me feel at home instantly. The training has been fantastic. I think within my first cross-country race, I improved by over a minute, which just goes to show when you've got like a coach that's competent, knows what he's doing, and at the end of the day, he puts you as like a person first rather than just being an athlete and like a statistic. So like, that's the one thing I've really loved here, is the relationship's very personal, and you know, it's not just what you're doing in training, it's like how things are going outside. Like today he texts me asking how my exams and things were going. So like, it's just relationships like that have been so fantastic, and I think like that's why I've enjoyed transferring here so much. The city of Philadelphia is pretty cool, I must say. I personally think it beats Nashville. So
It's definitely different than Nashville.
Yeah,
it is.
big
I
jump.
like having all the sports teams here too. I think that's so great. You can go like, I remember on my visit they took me to a Phillies game, and I remember Dollar Dog Night. I think I had 5. Never eaten one before, and it was awful. But that's neither here nor there, you know.
That's awesome. Yeah, Philly's a cool city to come to, especially from Nashville and from England. I'm sure that was quite the transition, and it's great to hear that a coach really prioritizes the athlete as a person over the sport. So how have you transitioned from like being a student athlete, balancing your schoolwork with the travel schedule? It can be a lot.
It certainly can be a lot. I think the best way to do it is communicate strongly. Just think about things in advance and stay organized. I kind of don't have too much trouble with it. I try and like stay as organized as I can, but like, and now it's nice, you know, all classes are pretty much online, so you can just like take your laptop with you and you're not having to worry about anything. And thankfully we haven't had to travel too far for track meets so far. We've just been in like the Philly, New York area, so the journeys are only a couple of hours, so it's not that bad.
Yeah, that's great. So do you have like you were talking about traveling, you know, balancing school and track and such, and do you have a certain, like when you have a competition, like something you do to prep for it, or like what's that look like for you?
Honestly, prep for it is just pretty standard. It's get you good sleep in, make sure you're eating right. One thing that I kind of like believe in now is really daft. Like I'll always wear like a nose strip for racing. I don't think it even makes any difference, but I've kind of got used to that. And it's like I'll wear no socks in my spikes Like it's just like small little mantras like that I'll always stick to. I'm also a massive sucker for Sour Patch Kids, so I take them every single trip. So the first thing we do when you go on away on a trip, you get given per diem, like the money that you're allowed to spend on food for like the period of days you're away. The first thing I do, go to the supermarket, family size, Sour Patch Kids, and then when we're in the hotel room, I eat them constantly. Like, and that's been a thing I've been really into. So those are like the small things that I do to prepare. Nothing grand, but like good sleep is the advice I'd let all the listeners take away. So
I mean, obviously, Sour Patch Kids helps you run faster.
Yeah, is what I'm taking away from this.
The sugar
That's
boost
what I'm
is
gathering.
like no other.
Yes. So can you walk us through what events you run in and what is your favorite, the ones that you look
Of
forward
course.
to?
So cross country, the races during the regular season at 8K. Then championship season when you go to regionals, and when you go to nationals, those are 10K. So that's what I'll do throughout the whole fall. Then indoor season, Coach and I kind of experimented this year. I went down in distance, so I focused a little bit in the mile and also the 3K, whereas I'm predominantly a 5K runner. And this outdoor season, I'll be moving to the 5K, and that's going to be pretty fun. We're going to focus on that. A couple 1500s here and there to keep my speed up, but it'll be mainly focusing on 5Ks. As far as a favorite distance goes, I think 5K is my favorite ideally because it's a good combination of speed and strength, but 8K cross country never gets old. It's cross country is so exciting. I mean, you line up with over 400 guys, and especially when the first like 400 meters at funnels, it's a race to get there. So I love cross country. It's very, very exciting.
Going off of that, you talked about the outdoor season. We're getting into springtime. You're transitioning from indoor to outdoor. What is that like transition like for you guys, like the prep and different stuff like that?
So the transition's fairly seamless. Going into indoor, the focus is actually always on outdoors. The coach describes it as like a stepping stone to get to outdoors. Outdoors is the most important season you can have. So I just try and focus on like keeping my training consistent throughout the indoor period, and it's a great time to like build mileage and like keep those consistent weeks going. The training hasn't necessarily changed in what we do. As we creep towards the races, it gets more race specific. So it'd be like shorter reps at race pace, but that's kind of it, and nothing's really changed too much. It's pretty similar.
Yeah, and so now you're a junior and moving into kind of your senior year. What are you looking on to improve as an individual for the rest of this outdoor season and heading into next year?
So I'm just honestly just happy to be here. Like the change in coaching has done me a world of good, but it's like personally and like racing wise. So I'm just looking forward to keep building that relationship. Also from like an academic standpoint, get more involved with like communications here, since now that I've kind of got a bit more familiar with it. So just work on those things, like building those relationships, and at the end of the day, like when you're happy, like things tend to go well for you. Like the more happy you are, the faster you'll run type thing. So
yeah, absolutely. And what do you feel like this year and heading into next year, what kind of your leadership role is? You talked about the camaraderie on the team, how you really get along with the guys. What is that like?
So I think the nice thing about this team is like everyone kind of has an individual aspect that they bring there, so they each have their own leadership style. I think moving into a senior role, I feel like my leadership will have to improve. I'll have to be more of a vocal person on the team. I think initially I didn't know how it would pan out transferring in, because everyone doesn't really know you. You can't really go in and be bossy boots, stuff like. But I think now that everyone's a bit more familiar with me, I can certainly be more vocal and be a stronger leader on the team.
Yeah, absolutely.
So like you said, you were heading into your senior year. Are you looking forward to getting that new talent, getting that fresh talent, and like kind of like molding them, like you said your coach kind of does for you?
Yeah. So we have a fantastic group of freshmen coming in. So far we've got a guy from New Zealand, a guy from England, and a guy from Denmark. We're also looking into some transfers, which is top secret. But the class coming in is fantastic, and we can't wait to work with them. So.
Yeah, that's very exciting. And we are going to take one last break. When we come back, we have all of this week's upcoming games for you. Stay tuned. And thanks, Finn.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
What if one day you went to that secret place, that spot that only you know about, and instead of what you came for, You found this. What would you do? Would you stop and give it some thought? The truth is, all drug use comes with risk. Before those risks become real, before drugs turn your life upside down, before drugs take their toll on you and your family, know that there is help. You can quit. If you or someone you love is struggling with drug use or prescription drug misuse, call 1-800-662-HELP for 24-hour free and confidential information and treatment referral. Or go to samhsa.gov/knowtherisks.
Can look forward to. Basketball will move to the quarterfinals of the A10 Championship on Thursday, March 9th at 7:30 against Fordham. Men's soccer will kick off their spring season with a game against Sigma FC on Friday, March 10th.
Then lacrosse will take on George Washington on Saturday, March 11th at home. Then travel to UMBC on Tuesday, March 14th.
So a short week, not a lot of games happening upcoming for spring break, but big one. So we have spring soccer starting, which is very, very exciting. I'm sure if Siobhan was here, she'd be really
all over it.
She'll be back next week. So really exciting for them to get their spring season kicked off and get some momentum heading into the fall. And of course, our men's basketball team playing Fordham tonight in that quarterfinal. Everybody should tune in. Super, super excited to see how they do. Josh Nickelberry didn't get a ton of playing time last night, but he hit 2 threes right off the bat. I'm expecting him, to get some good minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. Good luck, and to the men's basketball team, all of our faith is in you. I'm rooting for you. Livy's rooting for you. All of us here in the studio are, so.
Yes, and that just about wraps it up for this week. If you can't make it out to see the Explorer Report, be sure to tune in to next week's coverage. Keep up with this weekend's other sporting events by visiting goexplorers.com.
Also, check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/LaSalleTV and Instagram at SportsLine LTV. We welcome you to send us your thoughts and suggestions there.
For our entire SportsLine team, I'm Libby Gilliland.
And I'm Meghan Cooney. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you at the game.